Bloodrunning was an interesting experience for me, and during my time with it, I found myself on a bit of a roller coaster of highs and lows. It's a top-down extraction shooter set in a post-apocalyptic sci-fi world, so naturally I'm thinking, hell yeah, how did this fly under my radar? Well, I am sad to say that while I did have a lot of fun with the game, it's also immediately apparent that it has some serious issues. Right off the bat, I found myself not only disappointed, but downright annoyed with some of its design decisions. There's a serious lack of quality of life features, balance issues, major bugs like items disappearing from your inventory, and some absolutely insulting time sinks within its inventory management. I could actually let a lot of this slide, but one thing that kept gnawing at me was just how derivative it is of Zero Sievert. Some features and systems are not only similar, but seemingly directly copied right down to the UI, and in many cases handled much worse. What's more confusing to me is why would you take so much from Zero Sievert and then strip away all the quality of life functions in the process? Listen, I get that these indie extraction games are all essentially trying to condense something big like Escape from Tarkov down into something more bite-sized, so there's bound to be similarities. But Bloodrunning feels like a game lacking its own identity. Sure, it's got a unique art style, but even that mostly reminded me of Hyperlight Drifter mixed with Risk of Rain. Despite all that, I did still find myself having some mindless fun with the game. So mindless that I think I had even more fun reflecting on design philosophy as I played. I kept experiencing major whiplash going from very much disliking the game to really enjoying it. For example, the initial impression of the gunplay is absolutely terrible. Recoil is so random and virtually uncontrollable. Throw in a high enemy density and it feels almost completely untested. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that this game's often refunded. That's how bad the first impression was for me. Then, after a zero to hero pistol run, I realized just how piss easy the game actually is, with easily exploitable AI, an abundance of supplies, and comically imbalanced bullet damage. There's also so little depth to its gunplay that most nearly every encounter can be won by spraying across the screen, regardless of bullet type. Almost every initial positive reception I had to a design, like the abundance of supplies or the faster run and gun style of shooting, would slowly turn negative as I realized how it cheapened the overall game loop. Seriously, I find myself having a hard time determining where Bloodrunning lands. A lot of its design results in a much more casual extraction shooter, and I do think that a lot of people will enjoy that. But I'm not convinced they'll stick around long enough to fully experience it. I'm also not sure if there's enough depth here for any regulars within the genre, especially those that have already played games like Zero Sievert. So it may come as a surprise to hear that since the game is only $15, I found it was fun enough to feel like the money was well spent, despite all its flaws. I'm just not sure it'll attract the audience it's trying to appeal to, let alone who that audience even is.